AITA, for telling my sister-in-law I won't dress modestly around her husband. March 12, 2024, I, 33F, have been married to my husband, 33M, for 4 years. 1 year ago I had my daughter. When I was a teenager, I had been sexually assaulted by a family friend multiple times. This has left me with a lot of complex feeling about my body. My abuser told my parents that the abuse was my fault because I dressed slutty around him. He was 40s and I was 14. For years I would only wear baggy clothes and not do my hair and makeup. I've gotten some therapy and worked hard to overcome these feelings of self-blame, but being pregnant and having a baby messed with my body image a bit. I have been working out a lot and am really liking my body currently. It feels very freeing. My SIL, 29F, knows all about my past abuse and my issues with blaming myself and my teenage clothes for my abuse. She is married to my BIL, 30M, and the four of us have always gotten along. We are going on a trip with my husband's parents, my BIL and SIL and their 2 boys, 8 and 6M. My SIL texted me and asked me to not bring any bikinis because she had 2 young boys. I thought this was weird, but I told her that I wouldn't if that was important to her. She came over last weekend and I had cloths out to pack for our trip. She wanted to see what I was bringing. She framed it in a fun, light-hearted way. She saw my bathing suit and asked me why I was bringing that since she asked me not to bring a bikini. I told her it was not a bikini, but a covering 2-piece. She got very quiet and started looking through my pile of clothes. I also had a maxi dress that has spaghetti straps. Again, she asked me if I could bring some more modest. I told her 2 was uncomfortable and it was such a big deal for her boys to see me in a dress. She finally admitted that she did not want me to wear any flattering clothes or bathing suits around her husband. She said her husband had been struggling with a porn addiction and the clothes I was bringing would make it hard for him and would be tempting. This is where I may be the asshole. I was so grossed out and angry. I told her very assertively that she was crazy if she thought I need to cover my body to keep her creep of a husband from jerking off to me. I told her how wrong she was to say that to me when she knew my past issues. I also told her she is gross for at first using her kids, when the real reason is she didn't want her husband looking at me. She started crying and left. She called my husband, her brother, later crying and asking him to make me bring more modest clothes. My husband completely took my side and told her if it's such an issue for her husband, then maybe they should not come on the trip. My mother-in-law has now gotten involved and is asking me to bring a more covering bathing suit and modest clothes. Edit, for context. My husband's family is extremely religious. Think Duggar family religious. Edit number 2. Sorry, I never post on Reddit. I'll give more info that has been asked. My BIL has never made me feel uncomfortable. In fact, I thought we had a good relationship. He was not raised in the Pentecostal church, but did join when he married my sister-in-law. My husband and I both grew up in church, but have since left. My MIL has asked me to bring modest clothes, but she has not mentioned an addiction issue. I assume she knows, but when I look at her messages objective, it could be very possible that my sister-in-law told her I was bringing very skimpy clothes. Also, my husband is paying for the trip completely. I bought my dress recently. This is the dress. I thought it was beautiful and I was so excited to wear it. Especially since I had a baby 9 months ago. I might even return it because it feels like it's tainted and I just think of my in-laws when I wear it. Update. Wow, thank you so much for your support. Especially those of you shared experience with in the past. My husband has been away for work, but landed early this afternoon. On his layover, he canceled the reservations for the trip. He is currently on his way to his sister's house to confront my BIL. His plan is to show up to their house unannounced and take brother-in-law out for a drink. And talk to him away from my sister-in-law. I will post an update tomorrow. Thank you all so much for your kind words, relevant comments. Strangeloop 414, NTA, wear whatever you want, whenever you want. You have been through enough in your life with people judging your appearance and trying to gaslight you into thinking your appearance somehow causes trouble. I am so sorry for what happened to you when you were younger. I'm proud of you for putting in the work to overcome something so awful. OOP, thank you so much, commenter, NTA and Def NTA. Since I read in a comment of yours that your husband is actually the one that is paying for this whole trip. Are you kidding me? You guys are paying and they have the audacity to ask the ones funding a trip for them to cover up. I would find the skimpiest bikinis and outfits I could find and then tell them they are more than welcome to take their judgmental, mooching asshole selves back to their own houses if they didn't like what you were wearing to the place that you guys paid for. OOP, the whole reason my husband paid for the trip so that their two boys can have some fun. They never get to do trips because their parents do not have the financial means. I think that's the main reason I feel guilty about telling them they can't come. It's my brother-in-law that should feel guilty. Juphilip, I'm so sorry you're handling this sort of past trauma and current guilt. But here is where you draw the line in protecting your peace. If you and your husband want to offer something special for the boys, you can save this money and sponsor something for them in the future. But now is not the time to make yourself vulnerable to a misogynistic SIL and a creep of a BIL. Protect your peace, OOP, that's really good advice. I hadn't really thought that we could use the money to have the boys do something without us. That's fun. My daughter is only 9 months old and I definitely don't want to creep around her or a woman who enables him. Update March 13, 2024. Hi everyone. I accidentally deleted my OG post last night, but I will post the body of my original post in a comment below. I want to say thank you all for your support and advice. Especially thank you for people who damned me with their personal stories of abuse and church trauma. I'm so grateful for you sharing your stories. To answer if you have any questions. I am very average looking. But by conventional standard. I have a nice body. I'm 5'6" and 120 pounds. Since I had my daughter, I've been going to Pilates 3 times a week. For the first time of my life have some abdominal muscle, which I'm very proud of. I don't mean this as a subtle brag. I also put a good amount of effort into the way I look, such as doing my hair and makeup and wearing well-fitting clothes. My sister-in-law is a very attractive woman. She is much taller than me. She has gained about 40 pounds since she had her kids. And I know that she feels a bit self-conscious about it, but she said she's not willing to change. She said that she's a mom, so doesn't matter what she looks like. I wonder if she's having a bit of depression because she's about how now she stays without even showering. Again, I'm not saying myself to my sister-in-law, just trying to give a better picture. So for the update, to make things clearer, I will refer to my husband as Tom and myself as Kate. I referred to my sister-in-law Jill, and my brother-in-law as Jack. My husband showed up at my in-laws' house unannounced last night. He said my brother-in-law was happy to see him and he asked to go for a walk with him so he could talk. One thing that was interesting is that my brother-in-law wasn't under the impression, but the trip was still on for this Saturday. My husband said this is the most awkward conversation he ever had. He started by asking Jack, my brother-in-law, if him and his wife are having any trouble because his wife had mentioned that he had a porn addiction. My brother-in-law rolled his eyes. Said he's only looked at porn once since Christmas. He looks at it once every couple months. His wife is convinced it's an addiction. He told my husband it's frustrating because he feels shamed for normal sexual desire. He also confided into my husband that him and his wife has not had sex in over a year and he's not sure what to do. He said he has suggested counseling, but his wife only wants to see someone from the church, was not a licensed therapist, my husband said. Well, Jill said it was enough of an issue that she didn't want Kate to wear a 2-piece bathing suit or a sundress on the trip because it would be difficult for you. He said my brother-in was very surprised and upset, and asked a bunch of questions about the incident. My husband said that my brother-in-law was mortified. My brother-in-law said, wait. Does Kate think I've been thinking about her in that way? My husband told him that was what Jill implied. Again, Jack was mortified. He profusely apologized to my husband and said that it's not the case at all. He said he wanted to apologize to me directly, but he didn't want to make me feel more uncomfortable and he was so sorry. My husband asked him if he had any pictures of me and his phone that he had taken without my consent. Immediately said absolutely not, and gave my husband his phone and told him to look through it. My husband also asked my brother-in-law, Jack, if he had made any comments about my body to his wife or others. Jackson said that he had made a few comments that he thought were innocent, but in the light of day he can understand how they could have been construed otherwise. He said that he had made comments when I was pregnant about me being glowing. He also said that recently he has been talking to his wife about how he thought it was adorable that I had made a point to work out and make time for myself after my baby was born. He said that he had mentioned I had looked good and he knew how hard that is to make time to work out with a little one. Jack apologizes that he realized that these comments he thought were innocent might not have been the most appropriate, and then going forward, he will be careful, but he says his wife and others. My husband told him that even though the air has been cleared, but the trip is off. Jack said he completely understood and he would tell his boys this morning. And that he would be talking to Jill. About an hour ago, I got a text from Jill saying, "My kids are devastated. I hope you're happy." I have ignored her. My husband is going to talk to his parents today. And wants to give it a few days before you talk to her sister. Update: my brother-in-law sent this text to my husband about an hour ago. Please share this with Kate, if you feel like she's in a good place. Kate, I am so terribly sorry. I know this is really uncomfortable, but I just wanted to let you know that I have never used any thoughts or images of you in a sexual way. I feel sick to my stomach, having to say that. I really truly apologize if I have made comments that made you feel uncomfortable. I'm sure there's more I could say, but I just wanted to let you know how truly apologetic I am for the whole situation. I understand if you do not want to see me in jail for a while, and that's totally okay. Please don't feel bad about the trip. The boys are fine. This was a good apology, and I tend to believe him. Relevant comments: Ice_Wolf_Fenris. Is there a chance Jill is cheating on Jack? Just the no sex for a long time gives me that vibe. OOP, I would be shocked if that was the case. She was 18 and he was 19 when they got married. He's the only man she's ever been with. Interestingly enough, they got married so young because they were having sex and her parents found out and pressured them to get married. Commenter: it's unfortunate that really the whole problem is that Jill is insecure and, it appears, a bit jealous of you. If that's all Jack, I don't see the problem. At least now you know Jack hasn't been a creeper toward you. And yet again, Jill can't take any responsibility for her actions and is trying to blame you. You aren't the cause of her kids being devastated. This situation and not being able to go on this vacation is completely on her shoulder. I hope that you, your husband, and the family still go and get away for a bit though. Would be nice to relax after all the BS. OOP, my husband still has PTO next week. He is going to see if we can change the planned tickets and go somewhere just him. Me and our daughter, little Bitfinny 21. If Jack is telling the truth, I suspect he is, particularly since he so willingly handed over his phone and expressed both a desire to apologize and awareness you might not be comfortable around him. Then damn that poor guy, his wife is making him out to be a sexual predator. I hope he can get a divorce. OOP, also, my husband believes him, and I trust his judgment. My husband said if he's lying, he's gotta be a sociopath or something, because he seemed very sincere and forthcoming. Adventurous_basis 280, holy crap, sounds like your sister-in-law is having some serious issues. She doesn't want to have sex with her husband but also doesn't want him to take care of himself. Sounds like she is just reflecting all of our insecurities onto you and blaming it on the BIL. Hopefully this opens his eyes and he takes action. If she is saying this type of crap to you, who else has she been lying to about him? OOP, I suspect she has also been spreading the narrative to her parents because my MIL originally also asked me to not bring the dress and to pack more modest clothes. Historical Goal 3786. My concern is what she is teaching her kids. OOP, this also concerns me. Up to this point my husband and most answers that we left the church. My husband's family knows our feelings. But we know that they can live their life the way they want to. I'm just afraid that her boys are gonna grow up with some twisted ideas about sex and women. Bothered me about growing up in the Pentecostal church. That boys were told they couldn't be alone with girls because they would be too tempting. It made me feel like it teaches boys they don't have to control themselves.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you soon.